Welcome to the Make Time for Play podcast. Thanks for joining us on our journey to make time for play through board games. I'm David Castillo, and I'm here with Neal Hooper. And today we're going to tackle the question, what can you expect from your first board game convention?
Well, here we are again in person recording another episode.
That was not in the business plan that we did not write, man.
Exactly. No, this is awesome. So you had the Las Vegas
Toy Market
convention, and I am going to Dice Tower West, a board gaming convention, and it just worked out perfectly for us to cross paths and record live again together. So that's fun.
We know all 12 listeners prefer when we're together. So
yeah. We surveyed the audience, and that was overwhelming feedback.
Yes.
That we may or may not have received.
That's all good.
Oh, it's so good to be back again. It's a little warmer here in Vegas for sure, but lots of fun and excited to talk about board gaming conventions. But before we do that, we like to share how we made time for play. And I'm going to kick things off with a few games that I played. The first one is Wispwood by CGE. Just came out. It's hot off the press. It's a tile placing game. It's got lots of Azul-like feel to it. So you're trying to score the most points by the end of 3 rounds by strategically placing wisps on your little forest and your little grid. And the first round is 4x4, and then it's 5x5 and 6x6. So it's kind of fun. The grid expands, and there's unique scoring conditions on the cards for the 4 different types of wisps. Really cozy, really fun art style and theme. And I've played it twice now, and I had a blast both times. So I really like Wispwood from CGE, and we'll have a full review here in the next week or two on that.
Who'd you play it with again?
So I played it first with my son, Arthur.
Okay.
For his birthday. He wanted to play a board game, so we did Wispwood.
That's so awesome. That's what he wanted to do for his
birthday. I'm training him up in the ways. And then I played with Abria for the second time. So it's just 2 players. That's what I want to play is 3 or 4 players before I have a full opinion. But I don't see how it. I think it'll scale well because you're just working on your individual grids. But yeah, really fun. Really liked Wispwood.
All right.
The next one is a classic in our home. It's Splendor Duel, and we're big fans of Splendor, but the dual version. Aubrey and I really like Splendor Duel. Just some of the tweaks are really, really fun. I like the privilege scrolls. So again, it's the same game. It's still Splendor, but they just made a few tweaks for the 2-player variant. So you have privilege scrolls, which give you the option to pick an additional gem from the central pile or supply on your turn, which can really help you out in a pinch. Some of the cards have special abilities on them, like take a bonus turn or steal a gem token from the other player. So just kind of a little bit of take that and some other options there. And then I really like how you lay out the gem tokens in a spiral pattern, and you can kind of force the other player to replenish the gems, and that gives you a privilege token. Anyway, there's enough tweaks there that I like it.
Right. I mean, the traditional Splendor, or the original Splendor, not traditional, like I remember you either draw like 1 of 3 different colors, or you draw 2 of the same color, assuming there are enough left. But in Duel, it's more about like the way they're in the spiral, if I remember right.
Yes. And yeah, good clarification. If you haven't played Splendor, you're not familiar with it. That doesn't make a ton of sense, but yeah, you basically can pick up to 3 of the tokens, but it has to be in a straight line.
That's right.
Yeah. Horizontal, diagonal, or vertical. So yeah, there's just a little more strategy there and picking. And then they added pearls as well to the mix.
Yes.
Which is interesting because they're rarer. There's only 2. and there's some of the higher cards require pearls. So anyway, it's fun. We really like it though.
Yeah.
What's your take? You've played it, right?
Yeah, it's been a minute since I played it, but I know in the original Splendor, I mean, it's a strategy that I use, but I try to hoard the colors that I know the other player wants.
Yep.
And so, and at least in a 4-player or 3-player setting, you're only doing that to one of the few players, but in 2-player, you're doing it to the only person. So I think that spiral layout, the drafting mechanism, the change in it is kind of a nice way to mitigate that.
Yes.
Despite that being, hey, like if it's fair game, it's fair game. But
yeah, and we're kind of we're at the I don't want to say the tail end. I'm sure there's a ton more games that may do the 2-player variant versions, but I feel like that was a huge trend over the last few years of turning all these popular board games and releasing 2-player variants, and they don't always improve or land, but I feel like Splendor Duel, I actually think I prefer that over the original. Obviously, if you're only playing with 2 players, but anyway, it's just a good one. I like it.
I mean, really, on that topic, not to tangent too far, but the 2-player ones that I've liked best are the ones that did not come from another 3 or 4-player game. Typically, Splendor Duel, I think, would be the exception.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, just games like Toy Battle didn't exist in 3 or 4-player. Tag Team didn't exist in 3 or 4-player.
Yes.
Those ones are like really revived the love for 2-player games again for me, whereas I was kind of getting burned out.
The other one we really liked the 2-player variant of, I think I mentioned this a few episodes ago, was King of Tokyo Duel. We really like.
Oh yeah, I do like that one.
That one's fun. Kind of the push and pull or the tug of war mechanic is really fun. The last one that I played is kind of different. Massive game, Andromeda's Edge. Finally got that one to the table.
Nice.
And it was the deluxe version, so it had all the fun miniatures, and we played 4 players. It was a long game because we were all learning together, but I did some good research. Like I prescribed my own advice, and I did lots of tutorials to make sure we had a successful game night. And between everyone being very, into the hobby, that helped. And then, but yeah, it was a blast, absolute blast. Dying to play it again. It took like 4 hours total from when we sat down to finish it. But it's just, obviously it's a crunchy epic space battle game. And you're competing against each other to conquer the space pirates or the raiders and battle each other and build stations, and you're moving up tracks. There's all kinds of stuff going on. You're upgrading ships. It's just an epic, fun game. Very crunchy game. And I'm definitely looking forward to play it again.
Awesome, man.
Yeah.
All right. I've been in a little bit of a travel season with just the job, trade shows, and all of that. So, yeah, any time playing has been very intentional. But I'm glad. I love that's why we do this. It's a good reminder for myself to just be intentional, make time for playtime, make time for play. And
you better believe when we wrap up this episode, we're going to sneak in a game or 2.
Yes, 100%. Yeah.
Gotta make time.
Yeah, one was Bomb Busters. It was kind of out of sight, out of mind a little bit. But then we had some friends over who we have played both versions. Well, I guess the first 2 versions of the crew with a lot. And then as I was kind of looking through our game pile, and I'm like, oh my gosh, if they've loved the crew, they will love Bomb Busters. And it was totally right. It was a great time. I like that. It's just good. Goal of the game is to work together to defuse the bomb. You've got, I think, 8 training missions because it's got like a good amount of rules. I think it's a little bit of a legacy aspect too, where you kind of gain abilities, some tweaks to the rules as you progress in missions. Nice. But yeah, I mean, it's really fun because everyone just has wires that they can see, and you're just trying to cut them by, like, if I have a number 2, I want to properly guess or just say to the person across from me, next to me, whoever, like, is that a 2? And if it is, we both get to lay them down. They're cut. But there are, I mean, ways to kind of hint at it. Then I like the tweaks with the yellow wires that they introduce, and then there's a red wire where if it's ever cut, you lose, sort of thing.
Man, I'm dying to play that one.
Oh, okay.
Oh, it's right here.
Dude, we have it. Yeah. Oh.
There it is. There we go.
Yeah, great. Won the Spiel des Jahres, however you pronounce it. Was it the Kenner? I think it was the Kenner Spiel. last year, but great.
Yeah, and thanks for the copy, by the way.
Oh, yeah.
We still haven't got around to playing it yet, but maybe tonight that'll change.
Yeah, totally.
But
And the other one was Gloomies. So that one, oh my gosh, I'm just a sucker for pretty art on the cover. And honestly, like, I don't know if it's just me being on the second to last day of the trade show of Toy Market right now. I can't really tell you much about how to play. I just remember the feeling of enjoyment and how pretty it was. It was like, I'd say Gateway minus, slightly lighter than Gateway. I just remember like 2 phases, like planting the plants and then like harvesting them. But like, yeah. And my wife enjoyed it. She's a sucker for pretty games as well. So I'm eager to play it again. That way I can use proper vocabulary and give a better description in the future. But Gloomies, like I did, yeah, it was good.
I want to play that one too. And again, at Gen Con, I think is where I saw it the first time this last year. And it just the table presence alone, I was like, I want that. So, and it's good to know it's an enjoyable game too.
I did, yes, enjoyed it.
Okay, awesome. Well, that is how we made time for play. We want to dive into the topic today, which is what can you expect from your first board game convention? And I think right out of the gate, just a few disclaimers. We know not everyone may be interested in attending board game conventions or may not have the resources or time to make a board game convention happen, and we totally get that. On the flip side, I think there's a lot of people that might be interested in attending a board game convention but are just very intimidated or overwhelmed. And so to that audience, hopefully we can share a few things that might mitigate that or help them feel a little more open to it.
Yeah, and so I think if the interest is there, but maybe just you kind of think it's got to be like Gen Con or nothing, that's okay. It doesn't have to be. There are a lot of regional ones. The hobby's grown so much that it feels like every region has ample conventions to choose from. And so I guess the first thing that I would say, just, I don't even know if it's advice, but maybe just like comfort, but the culture that I've experienced in every single convention is just very welcoming.
100%.
And I mean, I don't know if this is like a weird shopping cart metric, if you know the whole shopping cart psychology exercise, anyway, for another time. But like if you return your shopping cart or not.
So well, now I'm curious. Okay. I don't think I know this.
All right. Cliff Notes is some people believe that it's an indicator of if you're a good person or not. Maybe that's not the right term, because there's no incentive to do it. You don't gain anything by doing it, and you're not punished by not doing it. So your reason for doing it is typically just like selfless. You're doing it just to.
It's like the ultimate, like what you do when no one's looking metric.
Right. So I'm curious now, because I have definitely noticed I go to a lot of conventions for my job that are not necessarily gaming conventions, but the bathrooms are always disgusting. Now it could be a staff thing, but it just, the fact that someone would leave it like that, and they tend to have fewer attendees than Gen Con, but when I go to Gen Con, the toilets are always looking nice and clean. And so it just feels like that those people like care enough to clean up after themselves. So
board game conventions, in my experience, just to really hit on that point, like you could be, well, and I mean, let's go back in history a little bit. When I went with you to Gen Con for my first time, I was not that deep in the hobby. Like I was pretty new to everything. And it was that trip that really got, like, I've always played games, but that was the trip that really got me in. And now I'm in deep, and it's your fault. But
that doesn't have to be your first convention.
Yeah, I don't know if I'd recommend that to everybody. I mean, if you know somebody like I did, like going with David, that was super fun. It was a lot for sure, but it was so fun. But yeah, just to echo what you're saying, if you don't know, if you're new to gaming or you're just not that deep into it, like people were so kind to me, and like they didn't care that I didn't know some of the classic games that everybody's heard of. Like I hadn't played Splendor yet, and that wasn't. They were just so patient, and so yeah, don't be intimidated, I guess, is just, there's a long way of saying that, but yeah,
in a weird way with toilets and such. So yeah,
you get it straight here on the Make Time for Play podcast, that's for sure. And I guess going along with that is, there are different different levels, right? Of when we say convention, that's like kind of a broad stroke, but you have the Gen Cons, that's like the biggest one, and then Spielessen in Germany.
Right.
Those are massive. We were talking 70,000 plus people in a 4-day period, and it is crazy. It is like high energy, it's chaotic, it's hectic. It's a lot of fun.
And by day 4, stinky.
Yes, but not in the bathrooms. No.
Yeah. Right, not in the bathrooms.
Yeah, even the bathrooms are starting to strain a little bit by day 4 at Gen Con. But anyway, but it's, and so that is a very different experience than something smaller and local. And, we're here in Utah. Well, we're in Vegas right now, but in Utah, there are so many smaller scale conventions that are super fun. And so I guess the first thing is, what are you hoping to get out of your experience is just a great place to start, because those bigger conventions, they're a lot of fun. But if you're just wanting to play games, I don't know that that's the best approach, especially for your first convention.
Or it just might be unnecessary.
Yeah.
Like the regional cons are just a lot more cost-effective way to accomplish that.
Exactly. And it's so funny. So I haven't gone to Gen Con, PAX Unplugged, and then there was a really small one in St. George, right there where we live. There was like maybe 80 people that came. And everyone was just playing games, and they had a decent library. I had a bunch of games I had bought and not gotten around to playing yet, and we just played games most of the time, and that was super fun. So if you're wanting to just sit down and play games with other people, like look up local board game conventions. And what's the website? Is it Tabletop Events?
Oh, I don't know what you're talking about.
We'll put it in the show notes. There's a website called Tabletop Events, and you can just plug in your location, and there are tons of local smaller conventions as well. So I think that's important to know. What are you hoping to get out of it? And that might determine what kind of convention you go to.
Right. So I guess I'm realizing I need to get myself back to the question of just like, what do you expect from your first con? I guess it'd be, a lot of playing. It's not necessarily like a lot of there is a lot of buying, but that's not the sole hero of the experience.
Mm-hmm.
I think of like Pinner's Conference or just like other consumer shows where it kind of just feels like that is the experience is the shopping. But while shopping is significant at those, it really is just sitting down and playing.
And I would just throw in there, I totally agree with your comment. And again, at Gen Con, that's where a lot of games, at least here in the US, launch for the first time, and they sell out really fast. So there is, like, while it's not like the reason you go, for some people I guess it could be, but it is a fun, like when I think of Gen Con at this stage of my board gaming journey, I would say getting hot games upon release is a big factor. But to your point, it's not just consuming and purchasing, because you want to play the game. So anyway.
Right.
Yeah.
It's a great way to play games before buying. And I guess that would kind of lead to one, bit of advice or what to expect is, depending on the cons, if it is a Gen Con where there are a lot of launches, I think there are some, there are launches, people rope dropping at PAX Unplugged even and such for the title. But so you can expect that. Expect to not get the games that are being rope dropped for, but then expect to see some of those games never be talked about after.
Yep.
So, which is sad. I wish it was the case, but I do think a big driver of that is just the FOMO. Like, oh, everyone else is rope dropping for this. Yeah. I must need to as well.
I think we talked about this in one of our first episodes, just that idea of, are there too many games or whatever? And I think the FOMO drives so much of what you just described. I know I've experienced it because I'm like, what? Because that's happened to me before. I skip out, I don't buy a game, and I don't pull the trigger, and then it's out of stock and I never see it again. So, let's dive into tips for having a successful board game convention. I'm going to start by saying you definitely want to plan ahead.
Yes.
Especially if it's a big one like a Gen Con or a PAX Unplugged, because if you go there without a game plan, there's going to be plenty to do for sure, but I think you will, in hindsight, realize you missed out on a lot of really cool stuff. And there is so much to do. There, you can play games, you can buy stuff. There's tournaments. Shout out to David for winning the Splendor tournament that he signed up for. I always bring that up and it embarrasses
It's
me.
old news now, man.
No way, dude. He's still
Years ago.
You still have the medal, right?
Yes. No.
He wears it to bed every night. Anyway, but yeah, there's so much to do, and I think being able to have, even if it's a loose game plan, then I think that'll help a lot. And if you go to Disneyland, if you're big into Disney, our family is not as much the last few years, but it's kind of the same thing, right? Like you could go to Disneyland and have a fun time without a plan, but if you want to be really efficient and get the most out of it, then you should probably have some kind of game plan.
But then, hey, there's a lot that's out of your control. If crap happens, I remember with my wife and I, our first Gen Con, no one guiding us, forgot our badges. Oh my goodness. And like we drove back to the house that we were staying at, which was a half hour away. I was a little bit frustrated, but then like I just had to remind myself, like, just roll with it. It's fine. Like the world isn't going to end if things don't go to plan right away.
Yes, and that's a great balancing principle, right? Like, have a plan and then roll with the punches. I love that. Yeah, what other tips would you share for somebody?
If there's a game that you're interested in learning or that you want to learn before you buy it, see if they have like a learning to play session for those games.
Yep.
I mean, I know there's been a number of games that are expensive that I wanted to buy, but I wanted to make sure that I was going to buy something that I actually liked. So it was nice. A lot of times they will have people that are really good at doing the teaching when it's specifically for that event. And I feel, in general, those people assigned to those teaching tables tend to be more likely to be better at teaching than the people who are in the booths at the consumer side.
Yes.
That might be anecdotal.
I would second that. Yeah. Well, and again, not to go down memory lane too much here on this episode, but when we went that first year and we played Lost Ruins of Arnak, that was the turning point for me in my board gaming journey, where I was like, I love this and I want to do more. And that was a heavier game than I had ever played. And when that was the first time you had played it.
Yeah.
The guy who taught it was so good. And anyway, just to back you up, I think that's a huge one, is making time for those games that you're interested in, and the what do they call those? The teach sessions? The play.
Sure. I don't know.
play time. Anyway, sign up for playtime. And I would say I would prioritize that. I would just want to back you up and say those are probably some of the better uses of your time for all kinds of reasons. But
yeah.
Another tip is, especially if you're doing a bigger game convention and you are planning to make lots of purchases, is to account for that with your luggage, especially if you're flying in for a convention.
Yes.
So if you're driving there, you can just stuff your trunk and that's not a big deal. But if you are flying in for a convention, make sure you bring not just extra luggage, but protective luggage, because they, as we all know, airlines are not always gentle on the baggage. And so, yeah, I think I made that mistake when I went for the first year, and I was like, I'll just bring it on the carry-on. And yeah, definitely ran out of space. And then there were definitely some dinged boxes on the way home. But yeah, the good old clamshell is a good option. I love Allplay has these awesome, I know there's other companies that do it, but these awesome game bags. Would you recommend those for somebody going?
Yeah, I do like those ones. And I will say, like, with Allplay specifically, I love their brand. Their games are awesome.
Shout out to Allplay.
I did have some bad luck with the zippers on some of them. So just test the zipper before you walk away, because then you're right there. Hey, this zipper isn't quite, working. They'll get you a different one.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, but those are awesome too, because it's just this huge square and it's perfect for fitting lots of board games in.
Yeah.
So yeah, definitely make sure the luggage is there.
Yeah. Then I would say, my last tip would be, don't be afraid of going alone. Because a lot of times what they will have in like the game libraries sections, by the way, I guess that's another tip on its own. A lot of these cons will, even like the massive ones, like at Gen Con, you can pay for the game library on the football field, so you have access to like a large library, or the the hot games room for BGG. But anyway, if you're by yourself, they'll have something that you can like set next to you, that like a flag or a cone or something like that, says looking for more players. And so that's how we learned Rock Hard 1977. Can't remember the year on that one.
Yes, 1977.
Yeah.
That was also such a fun core memory.
Yeah.
It was us. Somebody had just bought the game.
He was learning it.
Yep, and he happened to be a few tables down and said, "Hey, you want to jump in?" And we wrapped up our game. So yeah, definitely don't be afraid to go alone. This is an important step. Two bonus important steps or tips. Wear comfortable shoes.
Yes.
You will regret not wearing comfortable shoes for
At the big ones.
Get the cushy, soft ones. You're going to be on your feet a lot. And the second one is to hydrate. Overhydrate, because you don't realize with all the walking and if you get dehydrated, that will ruin your experience. So, and then I guess third bonus tip is if you just need to like take a break and go sit down somewhere, like there's no shame in that. And frankly, 30 minutes or even an hour of just kind of relaxing can really go a long way, especially if you have a later gaming night. So yeah. Those are some tips.
Yeah, I like that last one because it is a little bit of a false dilemma. Maybe it was only for me. I kind of felt like, oh man, am I lame if I only go for 2 of the days? Is it all or nothing? And it's not.
No.
If you want a day, hey, perfectly fine. Just do what you want, what's good for you.
Perfect example, Dice Tower West. I'm going tomorrow. It started on Monday and went through the whole week, and I'm just going for Friday and Saturday because that's all I could squeeze in, and that's totally fine. So, what other thoughts on conventions? They're so fun.
They're good. And if you're on the fence, just go for it. Just try one. But and they're not going to be for everybody. It's okay. I mean, yeah, not a necessary part of the experience. I do think a lot of the drive behind the bigger ones, especially Gen Con, really is like a culture thing. So if you just don't feel like you're in that culture, that's fine. Like this is all just about like making time for play, making sure that we're having an opportunity to unwind and just not be like high strung. What are words?
Yeah.
All the time.
Yeah. I love that. And I love that you said that too, because a big thing I'm hoping to get out of Dice Tower West, I'm going by myself. Dave's not coming with me, jerk. Anyway, I know you want to, but it's going to be so nice to just sit down and play some of the heavier games in my day-to-day I don't get around to. And so, yeah, just make time for playing whatever way you can. And if that involves a convention, great. If not, that's great too. Those are our thoughts. Any other thoughts on that?
No, That's it. Thank you. Subscribe.
Like, follow, gift.
Tell your grandma.
Anyway, thank you so much for joining us on this week of the Make Time for Play podcast. And we will catch you on the next one.
See ya.